Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to give you the third update in my free-to-play account. I'm just running through some Villain Siege here, which originally was quite difficult, but now I can actually breeze through with basically no difficulty, relying on 3 characters for each of my clears. I use Doctor Strange on easy, I usually use Titania on normal, and then I use Sharon Rogers on hard. And what I wanted to do for this is I wanted to show you guys first off how much I've been able to accomplish in the time since I started the account and since I last gave you guys the update, because I have hit a couple of pretty important milestones like Shadowland and World Boss, and also because I want to point out again areas where I feel I could have done more and I could have min-maxed a little bit harder if I had the time and if I had more ability to micromanage things with this account if it was my only account perhaps, and to give you guys those tips in case you're just picking up the game and you want to take that route, or if you're finding that you're not getting the right amount of progression and you want to find ways of finding the shortcuts that I already know just from playing the game for a long time that you may or may not be able to pick up. You always want to make sure that you're not using the bonus characters in the wrong stage. So even though Doctor Strange is almost never a bonus character and I usually use him on the easy stage, I make sure that he's not on the normal or hard recommended list because I want those extra bonus items, especially the Norn Stones and the Gear Up Kits are super useful still. So in the rare case that he does appear here, I'll have to use a different character for easy or normal, which I have flexibility for. It would just be if Sharon Rogers was appearing in the hard slot, because then I would kind of be out of luck and I wouldn't be able to use her in any other zone, because I don't think any other character of mine could clear the hard level of Villain Siege. But I am quite satisfied thus far with the progression on the free-to-play account, and I do think that there are some things you can learn from this even if you are a veteran. So I will start off by highlighting the Shadowland clears. I was able last week to complete the first 2 stages of Shadowland, which I have the rewards for. So I have the first clear reward with the 4-star ticket, and I also have the first clear reward, which is the tier 2 ticket. That is for stages 1 and 2. Now that Shadowland has restarted, I don't have it showing, but I would have cleared the first 2 stages. I almost was able to clear the first 3 stages, but unfortunately at the time last week my Medusa was not up to level or up to gear. I didn't have her gears maxed out, and she didn't have her ISO 8 set complete because I couldn't find any chaotic Norn Stones, so she was really lacking. I still don't have an obelisk for her, but I was really hoping that she was going to be able to clear one of the zones or one of the stages for me so that I could leave Sharon Rogers for stage 3, or in a amazing case stage 4, but I wasn't able to get that far. But with Sharon Rogers and Titania I was able to clear out 2, and hopefully I'll be able to get 4 or 5 now that I've added Robbie Reyes into the mix. He's my newest 6-star character and I'm gearing him up, hopefully trying to master out his leadership a couple more times, maybe 2 or 3 more times, or 1 or 2 more times, in order to be able to use him against Corvus if I happen to get that as a world boss. And World Boss is the other stage that I've been able to complete, and I will be showing you guys gameplay of this later on in the video, so stick around. World Boss, I've just been completing the 1 per day because I don't have enough 6-star characters to do more than 1, and I've just been choosing the designated team that has the bonus because I need those bonus items, and because I'm going to be unlocking this all without crystals, so Quicksilver requires 5 of each boss, so it really doesn't matter which one I do. I might as well take advantage of those extra items because, by chance I'll probably end up hitting all 5 of these before I get too many repeats, and if it happens that I'm getting too many repeats and I'm not getting those last Quicksilver unlocks because those are the only quests I have left for his world boss, then I'll probably just skip that around. But in addition to those 2 feats, which I am happy to proclaim, there is a couple of things that I wanted to highlight that I did specifically, both good and bad, that I think you guys can learn something from. So I was pretty aggressive about my card selection both in what cards I wanted and how fast I was going to obtain them. I did spend a lot of my energy going through and doing rifts. Unfortunately, because I don't have all day to play, I couldn't run all of these rifts manually, so I did have to use clear tickets, which is why probably the biggest criticism against my account right now is that my characters aren't leveled high enough. I think my Medusa should be level 60 by now, and my Titania should be very close to 60. I believe she was like level 50 last time, about a week ago, so it's not a big push to get 10 levels in 7 days. But I've leveled a lot of my other characters up to level 40, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But that, in addition to having to use clear tickets because I'm running out of time day to day, has slowed down my progression in character XP. It hasn't really slowed down my shield level, but I haven't been aggressively trying to boost that with Alliance Store boosters. But it does show a bit of a disparity. But as I was saying, I was very aggressive with the rifts, and I'm actually pretty happy with my cards right now. I have 25% skill cooldown, which was the thing I was aiming for the most. I happen to also get 10% max HP, 12% ignore defense, and then some other stats that are just kind of gravy. The ignore defense is probably the second best stat for me right now, and that's probably the one that I'm going to be focusing on. All attack, physical attack, and energy attack are very nice, but they're more so stats that are going to help you, especially in Extreme Alliance Battle, and that is very far from my mind. One of the things that I really like about this account is I care not for Alliance Battle or Alliance Battle Extreme. I only do Alliance Battle for the gold, and then also for the quests when I have it as a daily mission like I do today. Or not, I guess, but I had it yesterday, I think. But otherwise, I really like the freedom of not having to do Extreme Alliance Battle and not having to worry about it in basically every case. So that is nice. But things that I would have done differently, or I could have done differently if I had been more aggressive in attacking this account and trying to rank it up, would be to use the Alliance Store a bit more efficiently. And I have been a bit lazy with this, but I think donating 1,000,000 gold every day is not a difficult task for a new player. You're given a lot of gold to start. You're given like upwards of 6 or 8 million gold just for completing the hero's journey. And just by doing your timelines every week, you will get an additional 1.5 million. And because you have such little gear up kits, because it's such a bottleneck, you're left with so much surplus gold. So you can definitely use that gold and apply it to your Alliance Store, rack up a lot of these tokens. I actually have more Alliance tokens on this account than on my veteran account, because on my veteran account, gold is just so valuable. But if I did have the time to play, and if I was more disciplined, I'd be using both the advanced XP booster and the shield booster to be cranking out my levels for my account and for my characters faster. I'd probably also be using the 20 biometrics once in a while. I used one to get Robbie Reyes up to 6 stars because he was missing 20 bios, and then I used another one recently on Sharon Rogers to get some of her gears up to 17. Every single day I've been pulling the comic card chest to try and get a new card. I'm hoping to get the Thor Civil War card. That would be my 5th and final card to equip that I have an empty slot for. In addition, until I get that card, it would be wise to just slot any 4-star card in here, because any stat is better than no stat. But I have been a bit behind in my scheduling to make time for that. But I guess if you went through it now, I could probably find something to equip down here. Possibly this Black Widow one if it was better. Possibly the Civil War one that I pulled today. Attack speed, dodge, ignore defense. Almost good enough, but not quite. We have this other Marvel Zombies, which is a 4 rank. That's quite nice. Anyways, so you can see that there's still some optimization to be done, but even with a suboptimal account, which I think more closely mirrors what an average player would be able to do, given the fact that they don't have all the information, that they're still learning the game modes. I think that if you started, 2.5, 3 weeks ago like me, and you're around this point in the game as a free-to-play player, you're doing great. You're probably doing above average, so, be happy with that. Finally, I wanted to show off the gameplay of both the Shadowland clips and the World Boss. We're going to start first with World Boss against Ebony. The team up that I use, please stop making me try to spend money. The team up that I use is Robbie Reyes, Sharon Rogers, and Titania. I was practicing this a little bit off stream and off the recording just to get the hang of it. And I just used that to get Medusa in as a striker, but also to give Sharon Rogers the 18% ignore dodge from Robbie's leadership. It's the most useful one that I have. It's the only offensive one that I have that applies to Sharon Rogers. And it does help, you know, make sure that she doesn't miss any of her attacks, because I do need all of that damage to soak up. So that I don't spend 5 minutes trying to clear this stage. But it really helps just to know the skill rotation of the boss, and that's where I think being a veteran really comes in handy on things like this, because I know when I need to use certain skills, I know when I have an opportunity to deal damage, and I know, you know, when I have to just get out of the way to avoid something just destroying me. So we're doing pretty well. We're already into the second phase. Sharon Rogers just cranks out insane damage, even at tier 1. Don't know why she auto-attacked there, but okay. This does give me a little bit of nostalgia, which is kind of funny, because I remember when I originally reviewed Sharon Rogers, I used her against Ebony in the World Boss stage, and I remarked at how slow I thought she was, which I thought was so funny, which I think is so funny now, looking back on it, because she's obviously one of, if not the best character in the game, especially in the early game. She's nigh unbeatable. She's better than most native tier 2 characters, just flat out. So it is pretty interesting that that was my initial impression of the character. Now I couldn't be happier to have her, knowing what my other options are for characters. Sharon Rogers is just far and away a better choice than the majority of options. Here we're going to have a little bit of trouble just because Ebony is going to use a lot of iframes and we have to run away from all of his guards. You can definitely lose at this point in time if you get caught, because all of the guards will hit you and they'll basically just guard break you ad nauseum. But barring something like that, or barring like a huge mistake on my part here, we should be good. We just dodged the meteors there by iframing. And this should be the last push. We get a huge damage bump from our obelisk, which is where some of the numbers are going to come in from that you're seeing, where I did basically 100,000 damage with my last 5th skill. But, oh, that's awesome. We can start saving our phoenix feathers, boys. But it's very good to see that we cleared it in about 2 minutes, which is pretty straightforward, not too difficult at all, and I think reasonable for an account at this stage. Finally, I want to leave you guys with a Shadowland clear of stage 1. Out of all 3, I do think that the easiest one is the middle one, Captain America. However, on my first go around, I did go with the Spider-Man stage because I opted to use Titania. I'm going to try to save her for later stages, and instead I'm going to go with Captain America, and I'm going to be using a universal type, Medusa in this case, who has the flexibility. I do think that with the right gear and at 4 stars, Doctor Strange can probably clear this stage by himself, given the fact that he has the 4-second freeze plus the first skill snare that lasts for 3 seconds, which gives him a total of 7 seconds of crowd control when you time it properly. But until we get there with the epic quest, because we're not quite there yet, we're going to be using Medusa with the team up of both Spider-Man and Black Bolt. That's going to give us the most number of team ups, and it's going to give us the best chance in terms of damage output to actually beat these guys. The challenge here is actually going to be the time limit. I think I shouldn't take too much damage from these guys overall, but the bigger issue is just getting them together and then doing enough damage to have them die in 3 minutes. The team up is really useful as well because it allows Medusa to use her 5th skill again. So if you're having trouble with her and you're using her, you can rely on that team up for a little bit of extra damage and a little bit of extra crowd control and iframes and stuff like that. Using her first skill though, I'm going to be able to push them into the corner pretty successfully, and then it's just a matter of keeping them in the corner, keeping them together, because Blade and Punisher don't really play too well together, but we keep them together. We only use the 5th skill after we have them kind of crowd controlled in some way or kind of stunned, because otherwise it is an iframe and so they will run away from her. But if we do this, we should be in pretty good shape. Yeah, see, sometimes Blade just likes to sneak away. Her first skill is really nice, though, for sometimes, not all the time, pushing them back together. But we use it also defensively to make sure that we don't take too much damage there, because we don't want to get hurt. We don't have a lot of health. We don't have VIP healing. We don't have all the stuff we're used to having for an easy Shadowland clear. So now we have Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster does make things a little bit more complicated, but Captain America is also quite difficult. But I'm more worried now, right now at least, about the timer and the fact that we're at the halfway point right now. So we do need to start to get them together. We do need to start being more aggressive about how often we're dealing damage to both of them rather than just one. This is the last part here. We just need to get them together, and then we should be good to go. Okay, we have the crowd control. Okay, we lost the grouping. Oh, we did get the webbing though. That's very nice. Thanks, Spidey. Yeah, see, if they run away, you need to time it so that the fifth skill is being used when they're together already, because otherwise you're in trouble. And I might actually already be in trouble because Captain America also has the added difficulty of using his immunity, and then that's going to make it more difficult to clear this in 3 minutes, and I only have 30 seconds to do so, so time is not on my side right now. But we've got it pretty close. Okay, it's just one-on-one. I don't have a lot of time, but I also only have one person to deal with, and one-on-one it's very easy to deal damage and do things with Medusa, but I actually think I am going to run out of time, which is unfortunate. Very, very close, but you guys can see that it's definitely possible. This is the easiest stage by far because it is one that doesn't have a lot of iframes for any of the characters, and I think iframes are one of the most frustrating things in Shadowland. I believe only one of Captain America's skills is an iframe, and maybe half of Hulkbuster's skill is an iframe, but otherwise Punisher and Blade will always stay on the ground. Unfortunately, Star-Lord, Iron Man, and Vision on the Blast Relay have a lot of iframes, which is extremely frustrating. And then on the speed side, we all know that Spider-Man has tons of iframes, and Ant-Man has his notorious fourth skill, kind of figure 8 iframe, which makes both of those stages rough. But if you choose the middle one, I think you'll be able to make it, as I did, with a blast type or a universal type. So I hope this update for the account has been helpful for you guys and has given you enough information to see how far I've progressed and how far you have progressed, or you could have progressed if you were to make one account of your own, or if you are making one and you want to compare your progress to mine. Lastly, I do want to leave you guys with an update about my shield lab, because I have been aggressively updating it. I have an item shop level 8 and I have an antimatter generator level 11. I'm contemplating going to level 12, but I haven't yet. Keep in mind, whenever you upgrade these, you want to do it right after you've collected the pink matter, or right after the item shop has updated. It's in the top right hand in the yellow there, because it will always refresh and allow you to either get items again or pick up 1 hour's worth of the pink dust again. So you can kind of get a little bit extra there if you time it. I haven't upgraded the processor much at all, and I have no interest in the warp device because I think both of these are very counterintuitive and kind of useless for free-to-play players and players who don't have a lot of resources, extra resources to spend. So I'm going to stick to using gold to get gear up kits from the item shop, and then the antimatter generator to accelerate that process and bank up some extra pink dust. So let me know what you guys think of my progress. Let me know what you think of the free-to-play account and how far you are in the game, if you started around a similar time to me, or if I underestimated or overestimated your expectations for how far I'd be at this point. You know what I mean. I don't know what I mean, but you know what I mean. Anyways, as always, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow, and I hope you're subscribed if you're enjoying the fun. Take care.